Okay, hi guys. So today we're going to just practice more factoring trinomials. So we are just going to jump right in. Two more examples, same stuff we were doing yesterday. The last example from yesterday, we had to factor a GCF out before we could do bottoms up. Do you guys remember that? So we need to keep that in the back of our minds that if there's a GCF, that's always our go-to. So do we have a GCF here? No, and it would have to be in all three terms. Like the first two terms both have a 9 as a factor. The third one doesn't, so we don't have a GCF. What we can do, though, is multiply the leading coefficient and the constant. What is 18 times 1? 18, so that's my M. What's my A?
-9.
-9, good. Then what?
You gotta find the two things.
Yeah, the numbers that multiply to 18, add to -9. To multiply to get a positive, but add to get a negative, they're going to both have to be negative. So what do you guys think? -6 and -3 will work. Good. So I have z minus 6 and I have z minus 3. Then what? Divide both of those by 18. Good. What is 6 over 18 reduced to?
1 and 3.
Yeah, 6 goes into 18, right? So you can divide them both by 6. So 1 over 3. And in the back, same idea. 3 goes into 18 6 times, so you can divide top and bottom by 3. And then what's my final step here? Yeah, you bring the bottom up. That's why we call it the bottoms up method. So the 3 goes in front of the z, the 6 goes in front of the z. So we end up with 3z minus 1 and 6z minus 1. Now, I told you guys you can very quickly check if you double distribute. You can even just kind of do it in your head. If you are like, that takes too much time, I'm not going to listen to her, whatever, I would encourage you to at least check the first two terms. Because if you made a mistake, these two aren't going to work out. All right, that's kind of the most common mistake. You can catch a lot of your errors just by checking the first two. So does 3z times 6z equal 18z squared? It does. So I'm not even going to do the other ones. I'm just going to go for it. All right? So even if you're not, I would encourage you to do the whole double distribute process, but if you're like, I ain't doing that, at least check the first terms. What are your questions on part A for today? All right, next one. All right, what do I do?
1 times -36.
Yeah, 1 times -36, which is -36. And then my add number is 4. 36 is always a fun one. I feel like there's just so many numbers that go into 36. So to go to -36, one's going to need to be positive, one's going to be negative. And if we're going to add to a positive, the bigger one's going to be positive. So lots of information already. Now we just have to find that combination. All right, let's start talking them out. 1 and 36. 2 and 18. 3 and 12. 4 and 9.
No.
5 doesn't go into it. 6 and 6.
No. That's it.
It's prime. You're right. Who said that? Good. So if you go through the options and you don't find a combination that works, then we say it's prime. Just like a prime number, there are no factors besides 1 in itself. Same thing here. There are no factors that will multiply to give us w squared plus 4w minus 36. So we say it's prime. Now, I will tell you that some of your answers will be prime. If you are going through a quiz or a test, though, and you're getting like prime, you need to slow down and check those, okay? Prime happens like occasionally. It's not a thing that you'll see a lot, okay? Questions? All right. C.
Ooh. What's it called?
Yeah. See how they're all divisible by 5?
Yeah.
All right. So I want to start with that. GCF of 5. Very good catch. So I will have a 5 in the front. And then in parentheses, when you divide by 5, you get x squared plus 5x plus 6. All right, now when you factor the trinomial after the GCF, remember, forget about the 5. It's not part of the bottoms up process. Okay, we go with the coefficient that's inside the parentheses with the x squared, which is just 1. So it's like 6 times 1, and then we divide by 1 at the end, so the bottoms up stuff doesn't really happen. But yes, this will be positive 3, positive 2. So I still have the 5 in the front. X plus 3, x plus 2. What are your questions?
What does the M and the A stand for?
Multiply, add.
Oh.
Multiply so this number adds to that number. Good question. That's very important if you don't know what that means. All right, here's D. Again, we saw one like this yesterday. Worry about the variables at the end. Kind of deal with the numbers first and then play around with where your A's and your B's are going to go. All right, this one, like I started thinking GCF. Did anyone else start thinking GCF?
No.
Oh, well, okay. I did, but then I quickly realized that it wasn't going to be GCF because the first term has a coefficient of 2 and the other ones aren't even. So it kind of rules that out pretty quickly. So we can just do the bottoms up. What's 2 times negative 27? Yeah, so negative 54. And then my add is negative 15. Did somebody say they had it already? Yes?
Negative 17 and 2.
Negative 17. Positive 2. Does 17 times 2 give us 54?
Oh, never mind. I'm sorry.
I think that'd be 34, right? So somebody said 6 and 9. The problem with 6 and 9 is that in order to multiply to give us a negative, one would have to be positive, one would have to be negative. You know what I mean? So they're not going to add to this. When one's positive, one's negative, it's more like subtracting to get to that. And we'll just make the bigger one negative. Did you have one? So again, when you add those, they'd have to both be negative. I don't think it's prime though. Let's go through. So we have 1 and 54. 2 and what? 27. Okay. 3 and oh. Yeah, 3 and negative 18 is going to work, right? So yeah, when the multiply number is negative, it's kind of, until you figure the signs out, it's kind of like which two numbers subtract to give you this, since one's going to be positive, one's going to be negative, and then the larger one just takes this sign. So we're going to do positive 3, negative 18. So when you get stuck, especially if you're thinking prime, make that list, even if you just do it in your head or off to the side somewhere. Go through the factors, you know, does 1 go into it, does 2 go into it, does 3 go into it, and see if you can come up with that winning combination. All right, so I need to make a squared in the front. How am I going to do that? A and A. I need to make a B squared in the back. How am I going to do that? B and B in the back. All right, so I'm going to have A minus 18B, A plus 3B. All right, bottoms up. Divide by 2, divide by 2. What is 18 divided by 2? 9. So I will have A minus 9B. In the back, those don't simplify, so we'll move the bottom up. Here's a great one to double check. A times 2A does give me 2A squared. I'm going to check them all, actually, because this one's kind of weird. That would give me 3AB minus 18AB, which is negative 15AB. And then in the back, I get negative 9B times positive 3B, which is negative 27B squared. So it does work out. What are your questions? Yes.
So say we forget to simplify it, like on the test and stuff. Will we get that marked off?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
Forget.
How many are in your notes?
H.
Goes to H? Okay. Sounds good. All right. How do I start?
Minus 15.
Yeah. So first I need to come up with my M and my A.
30 and negative.
So it'll be 30 and negative 17. Good. And then they're both going to need to be negative, and 15 and 2 work. All right, I'm dealing with y's, so y minus 15, y minus 2. And then what? Divide by 5. The first one divides evenly. 15 divided by 5 is 3. In the back, they don't divide evenly. You cannot simplify, but you can kick that bottom up. What are your questions? All right, here's F. Very good. There is a GCF here. It is 3. So we are going to have a 3 in the front. When you divide by 3, you end up with 2x squared plus 3x minus 2. I'm going to stop here and let you guys run with it. So I'm going to give you about a minute. See if you can work through it.
Oh my gosh, that is that's bad.
Okay, so to multiply to negative 4 and add to 3, what about 4 and negative 1?
That's what it is.
Yeah, 4 and negative 1 works. Now, hold on. If you wanted to say prime, you would not say prime because we already factored it, right? Prime is when you can't factor it at all. So let's just say that this did not work. This would be your answer, not prime, okay? You already factored it once, so prime is no longer an option. However, this does factor even further. And yes, I believe you were right that when we do bottoms up, the 4 is going to become a 2, and then the 2 in the back comes up. Yep. So this is what I ended up with. 3 outside the parentheses, x plus 2, close them up, 2x minus 1. Now if you have 3 open parentheses, 2x minus 1, close them, open them, x plus 2, like take them and that's fine too, okay?
Can we have the
Okay, do you see how they're all negative?
so we can do negative 2.
So when you're factoring out the GCF, make it a negative. 2x squared. Yes, you need all the parts.
Negative 2x squared.
Okay, and that's really good because now we have a positive x squared term, which is what we need when we're factoring. So now, just looking inside the parentheses, I have a trinomial. So I'm going to try the MA bottoms up method. Multiplies to 9, adds to 6.
3 times
3 and 3.
That's awesome.
All right, and then right now the lead coefficient inside the parentheses is a 1. So as far as like the divide by bottoms up step, we don't need to worry about it. Yeah. That's what's up. All right. Yes.
So would another way to write the answer for G be negative 2x squared x plus 3 squared?
Yes. If you want to be real fancy about it, you could write it like this.
Oh, we went back.
We went back. There was a question, could you write the x plus 3 in parentheses squared? And you most definitely can. All right, back to H. Yeah, the GCF is 3N. Very good. Shh. Almost done, guys. Hang in there. All right, so we're going to divide everything by 3N. We're going to write a 3N in the front. 6N to the third divided by 3N is 2N squared. 21N squared divided by 3N is 7N. Keep the minus sign. 45N divided by 3N is 15. Keep the minus sign.
If we forget our variable, like our n,
I will mark it wrong.
what if you end up adding it on at the end anyway?
That would be fine.
But you just didn't write it in like the top part.
If your answer is correct, I rarely go back and check your work. There are math teachers that do that. I ain't got time for that. Okay. All right. Multiply 2, -30, add to -7.
-10. Yeah.
-10, +3 will work.
Yes, I didn't know what it was.
So keep that 3n in the front, and then I'll have n minus 10, and I'll have n plus 3. Am I done?
No.
What am I doing?
No. What do I do? Divide by 2. Divide by 2. 10 divided by 2 is 5. And in the back, bottoms up.
Plus
Bless you.
And there we have it. Again, if you're wanting to check yourself without doing too much, check the first term. So n times 2n would be 2n squared times 3n would be 6n to the third. Okay, so real quick, you get boom, boom, boom. Check your first term.
Do you have to do another what did we learn today?
All right, what do we learn today?
Trinomial factoring.
Yes, you can say trinomial factoring, or you can just say bottoms up.
That is a very, very weird term.
All right, so the plan for the rest of the week, you're going to get your second trinomial homework tonight. We'll go over it tomorrow, review tomorrow, quiz Friday, no homework, 3-day weekend. Sound good?
So we don't